Hey, gang.
Hey, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all the other good stuff that we missed. Hope everybody had a great holiday. We had a very nice holiday, but we did miss you guys. We missed a lot of meetings outside of this because of the holidays, the way they fell, so... Yeah, we have to get back into the swing of things. Hope everybody is doing well. Apparently, nobody had any problems because I didn't hear from anybody. Unfortunately, tonight our call-in line is not up and running. So we're going to have to depend on chats and... Feel free to, if you have the ability to comment during the show, please do so. And we'll be here to answer any of your questions.
Handle any of your trials or tribulations.
Yes. Hopefully everybody that made a New Year's resolution stuck to it, because today is the day that they usually give up. And didn't know there was such a day, but apparently there is. So Larry is in the house. Hey, Larry. We were supposed to have a guest tonight, but we're getting another winter storm tonight.
So we had to wave him off. He comes up from all the way up and down Chester County, and I didn't want him driving home and all that.
Yeah, the weather.
Some rough and rocky weather tonight.
Yes, and apparently it's getting really bad because of the fact that the water is still coming up out of the ground from Tuesday's winter storm. Mind you, we did not get any snow. We just got rain.
And we like it like that.
Yes, I'm happy to have rain versus snow. Hate snow. Despise it, actually. So I'm happy that it worked the way it did. Anybody tonight? I see only 3 viewers so far. I'm sure there's people in the background that may be popping in that I'm unaware of. But, if you're struggling, if you're having a hard time, please don't hesitate to hit the comments. And
I'm having a great week. I found a whole case of paper towels laying in the middle of the street. Who finds a whole case of paper towels? I'm driving it. People couldn't get by going the other direction, so I said to the light, I go, let me go move whatever this box is. So hey, this thing's lit. 30 rolls of paper towels. Look at that. I use paper towels for everything.
Sorry. I'm just trying to get my
Lori's distracted.
comments. I'm getting my comments. I'm
But
sharing
that was my highlight of the week.
Sharing out my links. But just wanted to,
Dead air.
I'm trying to...
Tell them about your Valentine's Day dance coming up in February.
Yes.
Give me something to talk about. I'll throw you some ideas.
We do have our Valentine's dance coming up. It is the Harvest Moon Committee dance.
Pardon me. I get this raspy cough now for
Yes, we've had
2
a
months.
cough since Thanksgiving.
I think it's tuberculosis.
Ridiculous. And we got the last oil thing on the 11/11. Sorry.
From November.
November. I had to share that because I saw that today. He was asking last night. And we have Eric in the house as well. But we have that coming up on February 24th. Again, it is at Georgine's in Bristol. Tickets, I believe, are $40. We don't have the set in stone yet, so hang tough with me. And once I get that flyer out and get the information on that. I'll let you know what's going on with that. But it is February 24th. We have DJ Pappy P in the house.
That's right. You'll have DJ Pappy P live in the flesh on that evening for your listening pleasure.
And as always, we are, if you do happen to have, any connections for, businesses that might want to donate a basket, a gift card, a service, monetary, whatever, please hit me up, let me know.
Larry with the canoe thing again.
Yeah. Well, we'll just jump
Lori,
on.
tell Larry what happened to me the time I tried to save some Boy Scouts when I jumped in the canoe by myself. Tippy canoe with Tyler, I did
Yes.
a wheelie.
And then the Scoutmaster was in with him, and
It still did a wheelie.
you don't put the Scoutmaster that big with the
His
father
paddle wasn't
that's
touching
that
the water. His paddle couldn't reach the water. It was
They
still
just
like
kept going around in circles.
That's when I was heavier.
It was quite comical. I was dying.
Everybody-
Hey, Michael.
Everybody got a good laugh.
Sorry we couldn't have you on tonight, but we will reschedule you. I didn't want you to get caught on the island.
Yeah, it's kind of weird here. It's kind of like an island / peninsula.
Yeah,
When you're only a block off the river, weird things happen when the rain
yeah.
hits heavy. You can't get out of here or in.
And the funny thing is, we can have a torrential downpour and not have 1 ounce of flooding at all. But because of the tide and
The moon.
and the water already, saturated in the ground so far, we're not.
I think he said he has a canoe. Okay, well, that's good. Me and you can get in your canoe. Then we'll balance out.
But if need be, we'll just jump on the back of the Fox and it can take us to the back door. He keeps hanging out here, so we'll just take a ride on the Fox out here. But
That was historical.
I just want to make sure that everybody is doing well, and if you're not, you're struggling, you know where I am, you know my number, give me a call. Hopefully next week we'll have the call-in line back up and running,
I think Larry wears canoe. Larry, you still wear canoe?
probably, with his high karate. He has a Friday night high karate.
He only wears
and-
the high karate to special occasions.
Yeah, to the dances. But yes, we have that dance coming up. Our meetings at Living Grin for the family support is every other Wednesday. We just had this past Wednesday a meeting, and 2 weeks from now will be the next meeting.
And if they tuned in, when Mike does get rescheduled, man, you really got to tune in. He's a great guy. I did outreach with him a few years ago out in Kensington, him and his lovely wife and his kids, everything. Well, super nice guy. He's got a lot to talk about. He's living proof that, recovery works if you work it. I think you guys will enjoy him.
And if anybody has any canoe available, Larry's down to his last case, so we don't want him to panic and run out. But no, I don't
Oh,
know.
Larry.
I don't know what else is going on. I haven't really seen anything coming up as far as events anywhere in the area. If you happen to know of an event in your area, feel free to put it into the chat and let people out there know what's going on. And hopefully they can get out there and they can get the help that they need. And the resources that we need. That is like one of the most important things when we're dealing with addiction is, getting the resources that we need to help ourselves and to help our loved ones that are struggling. when we first got into this, that's what was going on. Events were going up everywhere, and that's where we got our education. We found different classes that we could take, and I jumped on it. He couldn't because he works full time, but I was lucky enough to be able to take advantage of some of the free classes and get some certifications out of it, and just get to know a lot of people that can, help me to help somebody that is struggling. And I think the most important thing is to make sure that you can find the rehabs in your area and find out what the rehabs are taking, what insurance is, what state insurance is, what county insurance is. And if you have a loved one struggling, to make sure that you have that list so that you can share that out with your loved one and have them call. That's one of the biggest things, is when we want to help our loved one, we want to do the calling. We want to set everything up. We want to make sure everything's, our T's are crossed, our I's are dotted. And in the long run, they want to hear from our loved one. They don't want to hear from us because they know it's us. We want them to get better. They may not necessarily want to get better for themselves. So that's just, one of the things that I learned early on in this little journey of ours. Also, a big thing is to make sure you have copies of their license, of their birth certificates, of their IDs and insurance cards, because unfortunately, third annual Naked Nipple Run for Sobriety is that in Ohio, Eric?
I went to one of them naturalist running events one time, and you don't want to go back, because the second time everybody recognizes you and tries to hug you. It was horrible. I'm just going to leave it there. I mean, the first time nobody knows each other. It wasn't too bad, but the second time was a disaster.
And what do you do with your keys?
I'm never going to go there. This is a family show. We're not going to talk about how you hold your regular car keys, where you put them. That was almost as bad as that Crohn's disease run I did. I mean, the run wasn't bad, but the cleanup was horrible. It was really bad. But anyway, on a more serious note.
Yes.
Kensington's getting ready for a big shakeup right now. Got a new mayor in town who just hired a new commissioner, czar, Kensington czar in charge, like a 30-year vet, 30 years on the job, the cop. Anyway, they're going to shake up Kensington. They're going to shut it down. Now, I mean, I've been in this long enough, and my guys too. Like, when they shut down the tracks, everybody came out of the woodwork. They all moved onto the streets because they couldn't live down on the tracks out of sight. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, look at all these people. Well, they were all kind of hidden away in there. Well, Dr. Oz, he marched through the railroad tracks, made national news. Philly got a black guy, had to move. And they threw everybody out. Well, what are they going to do now? They're going to throw everybody out of Kensington. Where are they going to put them? They're going to pop up all over the city. People are going to be freaking out. They're already popping up here in the greater. We're right by the greater Northeast. We're just outside of Philadelphia. But up around Philadelphia Mills, they got encampments all around there. All the local people are just having a mental breakdown over it. So it should be interesting what happens. It's going to be very interesting. It really is. I only hope these outreach groups are warning these people in this encampment. You're going to have to make a decision, make a move, either go into recovery or do something. And we all know, people trapped in addiction, they wait till the very last second. They always do. Mm-hmm. Then the trash trucks show up, throw away every belonging they have. It's sad. But that's what's going on in the city here now. I mean, this new mayor, that was one of her pledges, in the first 100 days, she's going to clean up Kensington. And we'll see. I mean, got a bad feeling about it.
Yeah. And I just saw on the news tonight, as a matter of fact, they had a mass shooting there in 2022 or 23. I'm not sure. And today was a big bust on the young children, the young kids that they were looking for. So they're cracking down, doing something down there because this has been an ongoing case for a while, and here they are. They're cracking down on it and, making arrests now. And they're not messing around. They said they're just tired of it.
Oh my God, they're messing around. Right? They got the same DA down there. He's taking heat now. They're trying to make all the crimes on SEPTA. They're trying to pass that through, like, to the feds to take care of it or something. Some new law that came through in Harrisburg, and the DA Krasner, it's out of his hands, and he's furious about it. He wants an end to it because he wants to control all the prosecuting on these crimes down there, which he's soft on crime. So they're finding loopholes to get around them. But yet he's still there.
Yeah.
And he's in George Soros's pocket. Hello, Stephanie Chapman.
Stephanie, what's up? Hello, Vegas. And we have to do something. Something has to be done because it is getting crazy. But,
Wow.
I don't know.
Okay, Dane, well, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I don't know if you're referring to us or the city. I don't know who's corny. We're corny. Yeah, we're corny because, recovery doesn't have to be all doom and gloom.
Nope.
We make light of it a little bit here.
Yep. But yeah, it's sad because it's everywhere. It's just the cities are really taking the brunt of it all. And and that's sad because there are people that are living there with their children and have to walk through the streets of what's going on, and it's very scary for young children, and we just need to make sure that everybody stays safe. Every now and again they'll do the drive-through and throw everything away and make it uncomfortable for everybody. And I understand it from the residents' point of view, but they have nowhere to place them once they do this. So what do we do? Where do we go? How do we help this situation?
I don't know. I have my own theories on it, but I think they purposely allow things to go down the way they do down there just to keep everybody in one place. Mm-hmm. Keep them all crowds so they're not all over the city.
Right.
They just turn a blind eye. And it's, anybody that's ever worked down there, it's like a third world country. Mm-hmm. It's bad. And like Mike, when me and Mike and we used to go down there a lot. I used to go down every weekend. And I didn't go down for a while. And I just took a ride through. I couldn't believe that it could get any worse. And oh my God, it got 10 times worse. And now I can only imagine what it's like and what it's going to be like when the shit hits the fan down there and they just try to displace everybody. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly.
And it's just not Kensington. It's every major city. It's where they hide. It's where they, can hide in the open. But we also have to remember that everybody that we're dealing with in Kensington, they're not from Philadelphia. They're not from Kensington. They're coming from the suburbs, and that's the sad part.
And we realize this is going on all over the country. I mean, San Francisco's bad. Everybody
Every
bad.
major
But we're
city.
most familiar with Kensington. That's why we talk about it, because we know more firsthand what's going on down there. We can relate to it. But there's another familiar name. Hello,
Yep.
Taylor. How you doing, sweetie?
Hi, Taylor. But it is. It's across the country. It's bad everywhere.
And I followed you all summer, Taylor, working with the blind kids down there. It was a beautiful thing. It was great. You kept us all, informed what was going on. It was very nice. That's Mike's daughter. She would come down to outreach with us down in Kensington too. And I figured I'd put that out there.
And it was that was the one thing I did enjoy in the beginning throes of all of this. Just being able to help somebody because I couldn't help my loved one himself, so somebody helped him other than me. So I thought, let me see what I can do to help someone else. And one thing I wanted to touch on, because I was on a site the other day and it kind of got me a little twisted because
Twisted sister.
the person was complaining about, parents don't say you love your loved one and then throw them out on the street. And that just hits me the wrong way. And trust me, in the beginning, that's what I thought they were telling me to do with my loved one, was to throw them out on the street. But we also have to remember the pain, the hurt, and the things that occur when a person is in their active use. And where do we go from there? We can keep them home. We can, work through that with them. As long as we have the right tools. As long as we're not keeping them in their addiction.
And we all seem to think that we know what's best and we can take care of them better than anyone. And that's what everybody thinks in the beginning. I mean, it's just in a normal situation, that probably is the case. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to a loved one suffering from a substance use disorder, it's a whole other ballgame. It's very hard to enforce boundaries and such out there for to keep everything on an even keel. Right? You're not throwing them out. You're giving them an ultimatum. You can stay here as long as you remain clean and sober and follow the rules. If not, you're gonna have to find someplace else to live in the way you want to be accustomed to. Mm-hmm. So unless you're not throwing them out, they're just choosing not to follow the rules and have to leave. I mean, I'm not playing on words or anything, but that's what it is. Mm-hmm. And everybody says, that's tough love. And we don't know. Tough love is a dated phrase. Mm-hmm. We use disconnect with love now. And a lot of the language has changed to be a little more friendly and less stigmatized. But, everything's still true, though. The same behaviors, everything's true. We're just everybody's using different words to sound nicer about it.
Right.
And I have to go along because I'm in all these different social circles, and I have to talk the lingo. Because if I don't, I'll be an outcast.
Right, and with that being said,
and I'm comfortable being an outcast.
We have to give them choices. They have to make their choice, and that's number one. We're not making them choose to live the lifestyle they've grown accustomed to because they're using substances or alcohol. We're giving them those choices because we have lost heirlooms, family heirlooms. We have lost, jewelry. We have lost money. We have lost sentimental items that really were of no value except for sentimental.
We lost a lot of years of our life worrying and staying up sleepless nights and constant, just turning your world upside down. I mean, look at that aspect. There are years you can't get back that
Exactly.
You know, you're always waiting for the phone to ring and the other shoe to drop down. It's horrible. There's nothing worse. I've heard it said there's nothing worse than grieving a loved one who's still alive. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much what you're doing. It's
Right.
like
Yeah, and I don't know if the person that posted that is somebody that is actively using at this time and was given the choice to stay in the home or to choose the lifestyle they have grown accustomed to. I just know that it's something that is not easy for a loved one to do. It's not easy. It's not easy for a parent. It's not easy for a spouse. It's not easy for a relative to say, listen, you have two choices: to live the lifestyle that we are all living in our home that doesn't include drugs or alcohol, or you need to live that lifestyle elsewhere. It's not easy. It is the hardest thing we have to do. And not everybody gets there early on in the act of use. A lot of people struggle with this for a long time and have lost so much of their life and of their property that
I mean, we hear stories every week in our family meeting. I mean, which we've been going through like 8 years now. Mm-hmm. And we hear so many stories. I mean, we hear people that have dipped into the retirement. I mean, trying to get the best of everything to help their loved ones. I mean, people that have exhausted their retirement. I mean, and the stories. I mean, because what's money? It's nothing if you can help your loved one, and the money's just gone, and they're still doing the same old grind. I mean, it's a type of thing. It doesn't matter how much love or how much money you throw at it, until the person suffering from the addiction decides to embrace their own recovery and take the bull by the horns. It's not going to get nowhere. I mean, it's
Nope.
not going to be successful unless they do it for anyone but themselves. Mm-hmm. I mean, if they're doing it for you, they're doing it for to avoid incarceration. It's not. They're not truly doing it to succeed. They're just trying to appease everybody. Just trying to appease everybody, get everybody off their back.
exactly.
And it's sad. I mean.
And with the drugs of today, not only are you, missing out on all that, they're stealing from you. They're, really manipulating you. They're really, just being, a person in active addiction. They're also getting to the point where they're becoming physically abusive because of the type of drugs that they're doing today. And, the verbal abuse is there a lot during, even the earlier stages of substance use. It's when we get deeper and darker into it and we're putting our foot down, we're putting our boundaries up, and now we're getting nasty, and a lot of it's getting violent today because of the psychosis that is coming from some of this stuff is crazy.
Well, the drugs are getting stronger and stronger, which in turn is making the withdrawal even more unbearable. Mm-hmm. And it's make people more desperate to get what they need, to feel better. And I mean, everything's being adulterated with fentanyl and and tranq right now.
Silazine.
It's wow. I mean, where does it end? It's just getting worse. We're not making any strides forward in the addiction world. I mean, it's like we just take 2 more steps back.
Mm-hmm. And Tarot Destroyer says prescription drugs kill far more people than street drugs. And
well, alcohol kills far more people than all drugs at all. I don't know if you're aware of that. Alcohol's still the leading cause of death. it just takes a lot longer to kill you.
Right, and it's legal.
And it's
So,
legal. Yeah.
you know, and that's right there, legal. You know, just because you're getting a prescription from a doctor doesn't mean that you're not abusing that drug.
Yeah, it's getting harder to abuse your prescription drugs now because it's being watched, so much closer now. Where it wasn't being watched at all just a few years ago.
Right.
And most people are buying what they think is prescription drugs off the street. They're pressing pills on anything. They're so good nobody can tell the difference by looking at them. Mm-hmm. I mean, they counterfeit. I mean, look, they counterfeit money. You think they can't counterfeit a pill that can
Right.
fool you? I mean, they're counterfeiting currency that the feds have a hard time figuring out. I mean, technology is just progressed so much in the last
Yes.
20 years and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's hard and it's dangerous because you don't know what you're getting. Mm-hmm. You might think you're getting this, but there's going to be something else in that, and chance it's going to be fentanyl, and there's a good chance it could kill you. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I said before, you hear the stories on the news, celebrities and such go out and they buy some cocaine, they're having a party. I mean, ever doing heroin or any kind of opiate, and boom, the cocaine's laced with fentanyl. You got 3 out of 4 people dead. Mm-hmm. Out there just having what they thought was just a harmless little party night out there. I mean, so there's no more harmless little party. There's no more experimenting. It's Russian roulette out there, man. For anybody who wants to experiment with drugs, it really is. I mean, it's so even the marijuana is so goddamn potent right now. It's like off the charts, never as nature intended. So that's even dangerous. Mm-hmm. And then the edibles. I mean, I talk about our meeting. I ruffle feathers when I talk about pot. I gotta watch. But it's overprescribed. Like I say, I got ingrown toenails. There's your medical marijuana card. Mm-hmm. And then these edibles, people are ended up in the emergency ward, paranoid. They think they're dying because they're so high. I mean, and let me always put my disclaimer. I mean, what you do in a private zone, I don't care if you smoke pot recreationally. Or what I get what really pisses me off is people recommending to use it to get off other drugs and stuff. That's a dangerous recipe right there. I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel. Because you can't trick your brain. I mean, it might take the edge off right now, but your brain knows what it wants. And that's not going to last. It's going to lead you back to square one. Mm-hmm. It last you for a little while. But, man, the brain will outsmart you every time. It's like, that's nice, but that's not what I want. And then it's going to bring back the cravings even more. Mm-hmm. And this and that. That's why I always find your best bet is to go the abstinence route. I mean, some people, they can't handle it. So if you want to do this Suboxone or any kind of MAT program, medically assisted treatment, that's fine if that's all that's going to work for you. That's great. But man, don't start this experiment with other drugs to get off this drug. That people are doing mushrooms now. They get off the other drugs. Like all these Barca Lounger compounding pharmacists out there.
Right.
Like an armchair quarterback. I just made that analogy. Everybody thinks they're like this gifted medical advice or something like that. You have people's lives in your hands, man. That's some dangerous shit to start preaching. Mm-hmm. That's just the way I feel.
Right. And I'm all for medically assisted treatment as long as it's being done correctly. It's as long as it's being done.
The doctors involved, the clinics involved, that's fine.
Yes,
but
you have to have your support system. You have to be able to sit down and just like your abstinent programs, your 12-step programs, you have to be engaged with people that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Sitting in with your clinicians, sitting in with, group therapy. That is all part of that. And if you're not doing it, then you're abusing the treatment.
The statistics are there. It showed that people that do engage in a program and go to meetings and such have a higher success rate in achieving, their sobriety. They really, it's just there, and the statistics are there. I mean, everybody's got to make up their own thing on it, but it is what it is, man. And like I would say, recovery works if you work it. I mean, if it was an easy thing to do, we wouldn't have so many people in the throes of addiction. But it is doable,
Right.
and I see it every day, every day.
And Mike, I did see that with Jelly Roll. I have not seen it, but I was listening to people talking about it, and it is something that I want to check out. So,
Oh, a song about addiction.
no, he was in front of the Senate
Oh, okay.
and was speaking. So I do want to find that and check that out because I did hear it was pretty good. So that I understand. And yes, big pharma, Pfizer, all of that, they're all in it for the money. They don't care about the person, the patient. They just care about the money. And all this money that was donated and earmarked for, recovery or what have you, I'm just not seeing it. I see that, they're pushing for, we're not going to pay for a 12-step program, but we'll pay for methadone. And, it's just wrong. It's just wrong all the way around. And if they took that money and placed it into treatment centers that, they caused, and, an intake floor, a detox floor, a, treatment floor, and, transitional living. Yes, I do know that it has to be that they want it. I get it. I understand that. But if they're living on the street without any of that in place, they're not getting the help or the seeds planted into taking that extra step. I know we have outreach people out there, but they're not out there every day. They're not out there, catching them at, a weaker moment that they can get them right in there. So it's a hit or miss kind of thing.
You see, and outreach has crossed the threshold and moved into the realm of enabling out there now. When we were out there, we just provided a couple little creature comforts just as a tool to establish dialogue with the people on the streets and over a course of time to build trust with them so that, in the event they should come to that epiphany in their life that they wish to seek treatment, that they'll reach out to us and that we would provide, whatever we could to find them a bed, through our resources and our connections. I mean, with the people out there with trays of lasagna and this and that, making it like a camping trip out there for them. Well, you got all this stuff out there, giving them tents and sleeping bags and all this food, and they have no reason to leave. They just make it so convenient for everybody to stay there, and create this like tent city throughout the whole neighborhood. It's incredible, and it's sad. I mean, they go in with all the best of intentions, but a lot of these people, I mean, they're playing on their
heartstrings.
Their heartstrings, yeah. I mean, a lot of them. I see a lot of women out there, unfortunately, that have lost children out there, and they get involved with these groups, and they're out there trying to be nicey nice and make what and give them all the clothing and this and all and that. That's fine and dandy, but it's gotten. Everybody's went way overboard, and it's crossed into the realm of enabling. And in essence, you're loving them to death. You're loving them to death. They have no reason to want to leave.
Exactly, and you're bringing into the residents of the area that are stuck with mounds of clothing that just gets left behind.
Clothing and
Trays-
like 90%
trays of
of
food.
it gets wasted. The clothing and the food and all just lays on the street. There's nowhere to put excess food to keep it fresh. They don't have refrigerators out there.
No. And the
I
trays
mean, the
of
most
food.
we would take was like peanut butter jelly sandwiches because they're shelf stable. I like that new phrasing. Shelf
Yeah,
stable.
shelf stable. Give me
Instead
a
of
break.
non-perishable.
Yeah.
They hold up and stuff like that. And then we would hand out like what we call the group we call blessing bags. That's like a few snacks in it and a juice pack, and it has resource papers and maybe a little letter of encouragement. It's just on a little Ziploc bag, nothing big, a couple snacks
And resources.
and. We would just use that as a tool, like I said, to establish dialogue and talk with them every week. I would talk to like a lot of the same people every week. The point they would know about me, I would know stuff about them. They would ask me how my loved ones don't believe. They would actually, they would engage in conversations with them, and it was really neat. I mean, because they would start to trust you, and then eventually, many would say, Can you hook me up with a bed? I think I'm really ready, And we'd let them use their phones to call home. Stuff like that. But that was like the extent of it. We were just more or less down there to talk to them, like a regular person. I mean, and they
Right.
really
It's that
responded to that.
that window that opens, that very tiny window, is all you have to get them into the treatment. And
Because it's just a fast-paced life down there. I mean, you got one mission and one mission only is how you're going to hustle your next fix, man. It's like that's all that concerns you. I mean, you don't care about your health. You don't care about your family, because, I mean, you're just so consumed with just more. And now with the drug stream now coming in, you need even more. I mean, with the fentanyl, as I told you, fentanyl's so much stronger than heroin, but it has a shorter shelf life, so the high doesn't last as long.
right.
So now you need more, so they call it the bright idea. Well, we're going to put xylazine in it, which is, the horse tranquilizer, and that'll extend the shelf life or the half-life, as they call it, of the fentanyl. It'll make it last a little longer, but, I mean, the trade-off, the side effects are horrifying. For the trank, I mean, oh my God, hideous, open wounds down to the bone. I mean, it's downright horrible. I can't even say words to describe it. It's hideous. It's so sad, man. It just gets worse and worse.
Yes. And there are doctors that can be out there and helping people, get well from different medications. But if they're not following them, then they have the potential to go deeper into their addiction. They can easily abuse the system and abuse the drug. I'm for any path that gets somebody well. I'm not against any path. I just feel that a 12-step program, an abstinence program, is the one that really sticks, and it's proven to be the number one treatment that keeps them in recovery long term, versus people that are taking Suboxone, methadone, Vivitrol. It just seems that the 12-step program seems to be working much better. But you also have to be ready for it. You have to be able to, change the word God, because that's the one thing that they really fight against. And you know what? A lot of them do. And a lot of them that fought about it finally took the program serious and worked the program and actually got through the program with the word God in it. Not that they went the God route, but they did what they needed to do in the program to make it work. And
It's something else we bring up. I would say the majority, I'd say more than 50% of people trapped in, in addiction like that have an underlying mental issue also.
oh,
We were
definitely.
talking, and it's becoming more and more prevalent. I mean, especially in our people coming into our family group, they tell us about their loved one. They're not taking their psych medicine. You know what I mean? They're because the side effects or this or that. They're going to try other avenues, and so so many people are dual diagnosed, and if you're not treating both illnesses simultaneously, you're not gaining any ground.
Right.
I mean, you got to treat both of them, and get them stabilized before they can even mentally before they can even approach their chemical addiction, so to speak. So
Right.
that's very important. I mean, anybody out there, that has a loved one and that has a history of mental illness, that depression or bipolar or whatever. They got to get back on that meds. They got to get back on their meds and get themselves stabilized, so they can take on their recovery angle head on. I mean, you can't do one without the other. It's
And Paula Berlinski, many people, half of whom are schizophrenic, sleeping under tarps, have a fortune awaiting them in unclaimed, I guess, pensions. There's a thing blocking it, and SSI checks, as they led productive lives before becoming schizophrenic. And just to touch on that, this whole COVID crap, it got to the point where people were getting money left and right because of COVID. They weren't working, or they lost some income. Their company closed down, and there were people out there taking those that were on the streets struggling with substance use disorder, and filling out the paperwork for them, giving them an address for the checks to come, which was causing deaths left and right because they were getting so much money that they weren't bettering their lives. They were buying more and more drugs.
Yeah, I was seeing people piling up at like the free ultimate ATM machines, like at Wawa. We have Wawa out here, and they'd be like 5 deep at the machines, and some of them with several of these access cards they were managing, and they taking out the max every day. How much cash they got? It was like it was a frenzy, and there's always a scam like anything else. But and I realize what you're saying about the truly really schizophrenic people that are severely hampered by the mental illness. Well, there's always an exception to rule this. I'm sure there's a lot of them have a lot of money out there that they're not even aware of, but
Right.
a lot of people that aren't as severe, but they never felt like they ever fit in. This is the way it's always been told for their whole lives, and then they start getting treated for a mental illness. It doesn't even have to be that severe. They're like ADHD or all the, and then all of a sudden they experiment with drugs or alcohol, and all of a sudden they feel different. They felt like they fit in. So hence now here comes the dual diagnosis. Now you have two issues to deal with, and it's very common. It happens a lot. That's how it starts a lot of times. I mean, I spoke with so many people. You wouldn't even believe me if I told you how many people we spoke with over the years about this and how it started and their story and all. And they're all very similar, but that comes up time and time again. A lot of time it starts in their adolescence, when they're younger and their brain's still developing and this and that, and it might be a little nerdy or whatever, and you didn't fit in with the in crowd and this and that. You never felt like part of the cool people or whatever, however you want to phrase it. Then all of a sudden, you start experimenting with drugs and alcohol. Now you're out with them cool people. You're like a different person. Because, I don't know, you just feel better about yourself all of a sudden. And now you can't feel better about yourself without, the crutch of using drugs or alcohol. I mean, it just becomes a part of your like everyday life. And I've heard that story so many times, and like I said, now we hear so many people coming in, talking about their loved one. A lot of times, it's mostly parents that we hear. They say, yeah, and it's dual diagnosis, and they're just not taking their medication no more because it makes them too tired or unproductive, or it causes sexual side effects for them. And it affects them in their dating. So they stop taking them. So now their addiction really runs away with them. Even more so, they start drinking more, and all to compensate for the lack of their psych meds. It's so like, do you have any friends out there that are suffering like that? I mean, you talk to them, say, listen, you're going to get back on your meds. You really do, because you're not going to be able to tackle the substance use angle without getting straightened out. Let's see what we got going here. Okay. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, you just really have to stay connected. It's very important that the biggest tool we can use is support. Getting a support group, no matter what it is. And if you are struggling with that underlying issue, and I say this all the time, you go to rehab, you go to treatment, and you're 28 days in, and then you come out. It's very highly suggested that you get into maybe a recovery house. Not every recovery house is a good house. It's up to you to do your homework and see who regulates their homes and just get that stay connected to that that process, to keep engaged in that recovery process. And if you are dealing with underlying mental issues, maybe PTSD from what you've seen out on the street, maybe PTSD to trauma that happened that caused you to start using. If you're not getting the help for those underlying issues after treatment, more than likely you're going to find yourself right back where you are, because you're not dealing with the shit that's sitting here and sitting in your brain that keeps bringing you back to picking up that next time and taking you down the ugly road again. It's just so important that you continue that process, that you continue finding whatever tools you need. And if you can't get a therapist at the time, then look for support groups. I know that when this all first started with me, I had nowhere to turn. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know what to do. And I was on Facebook a lot. And I just started typing in addiction, heroin, alcoholism. And all of these groups were coming up. And that's where I got a lot of my beginning help. And that took me to places that I could get the information that I was looking for. To find out that, all I can do is, be there and let them know that I love them. And there's, and I'm here when they're ready.
And then they find these groups, find these pages, and ask questions. And people are very willing to help you in the recovery world. I mean, all you got to do is just ask. I mean, join one of these Facebook groups or whatever in your area, and just say, "Hey, this is what I'm dealing with. Can anybody give me any suggestions of where to turn to?" And boom, that board will light up. It'll light up. And that's the key. I mean, If you're dealing with someone in the throes of addiction, the key is educating yourself. I mean, education is the best tool you can have in this, because the more you understand what you're up against, the better chance you will have dealing with it. I mean, as I say all the time, everybody thinks they know all about addiction. Well, I thought I did. I grew up in a whole family full of them. And it wasn't until I educated myself that I found out I really didn't know as much as I thought I know. Mm-hmm. Most of what I thought was very flawed, as most people. I mean, 8 years ago, you couldn't have told me that this was a disease. I was thinking, get the hell out of here. Mm-hmm. Stop. Grow up. Mm-hmm. Man up. Grab your little bootstrings. I mean, why are you doing this to yourself and the whole thing? But, after educating myself and talking to so many people and being involved in some years, I was like, it most definitely is a disease. Mm-hmm. It's a disease of the brain.
Yes.
It really is. And it's one that could be treated and overcome. Mm-hmm. I mean, through, a lot of different avenues of recovery, but, you got to work it. You got to work it, and it is achievable. There are so many people say, it is achievable. I see, I see it all the time, every week, people I talk with and all. I see the success story, so I know it's possible. And people are now living more richer lives than they did before they became addicted.
Yes.
I mean, they're living great lives. They're happier than they ever been.
Mm-hmm. And Polo puts out there, telling a person to stop being crazy is pointless. Putting a crazy person into a group of crazy people to talk about to stop being crazy accomplishes nothing.
No, I disagree with that.
And
I mean, you're generalizing too much, Paul. You're generalizing it.
And to a point, I'm sure that is. However, we are talking about addiction.
We're not talking people that are totally unhinged, like
right.
in a mental hospital. I mean, that's a whole other degree, right there. Yeah, that may not be helpful. Putting people that are, to that level of mental illness together, you're probably not going to get nowhere.
Right. And that's why it's important that you put them in place with, a psychiatrist if they're mentally ill. They're not crazy. They have a mental brain disorder. And
I grew up in a family that was
nuts.
Was very affected by mental illness. I had family members that were in the psych wards, and I had to visit them. My mother being one. I mean, I've been there. I know what I'm talking about. I've seen it. And I don't know what to say about that, but she wasn't unhinged all the time, but she had very bad depression, which led her down bad roads, and which caused her to abuse alcohol more. And my mother had a nervous breakdown, well, probably 2 nervous breakdowns. And was institutionalized for a little while there until she got stabilized and back on her feet and got her medication straight. I had an aunt that went through the same thing. It ran in the family. I think to an extent. I don't know if it was why, but it did. But we're kind of getting off target. I mean, we're not talking. The site isn't about people with severe mental illness. I mean, I'm out of my lane on that. In a sense. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but I have studied a lot about addiction. And its side effects and things that led into it, and how to deal with it, and what's worked and what hasn't worked. And like anything we say here, I mean, you just take what you think works for you. We're not telling you how to do one thing or another. We're just telling you what we know has worked for us and has worked for other people, and just giving suggestions. And you take what you think you can use, and what you can't use, you can just leave behind. I mean, there's no cookie cutter answer on how to deal with your addiction. Everybody's different. Everybody takes different avenues and different approaches to it.
Right, and we're dealing with, people that are using substances that may also have underlying issues, and that's why I state when you're dealing with somebody with those underlying issues, it's best to get them focused on a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, whatever level of help they need for their mental illness. A therapist may not help somebody with schizophrenia or bipolar, because that's something that really needs to be really dealt with some medications, where a therapist, talks them out. And it is best that they have the medical treatment that they need. I'm talking.
Paul, I'm going to say I just sent you like to be combative on anything we say. I mean, I'm sorry you feel this way on everything we say. You seem to want to contradict everything that we say here and all. You're obviously more well versed in mental illness than we are, and I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry you feel the way you do about everything we say. Perhaps this program isn't the best program for you. I don't know, but you seem to be very disturbed about anything we say. We're just generalizing.
Right.
I'm not a mental health expert here and all.
Exactly.
Apparently you are. I'm sorry that I'm not meeting up to your expectations. How's that?
And
That's plain and simple. I'm not going to beat around the bush.
We're strictly here because we have life lessons in family recovery due to substance use. We don't have the education on mental illness. I just know that a lot of people that are using have underlying issues, and that's why I say you must have them speak with a doctor, somebody who is going to help them with their mental illness. As far as substance use, there is no better way to help a person that is struggling with substance use than to have a community come together and help them through it. We're not talking mental illness, we're talking substance use. Mental illness, that is something for a doctor to deal with. That's not something that we're going to deal with, because mental illness, it's just so deep, and so many different mental illnesses. So I don't know what to tell you, but as far as I'm concerned, if you are dealing with somebody that is using drugs and that is having some issues, there's no better way to deal with it than having a support group with you, having somebody to talk to and to walk you through different things. And I think you need to move on to maybe a mental illness site, because that's not what this is about. This is about...
We're not a mental illness program. Addiction is a disease of the brain. I don't know what to tell you. You keep coming up with all the stuff on mental illness with lithium and vitamin deficiency and all. It's out of my lane. I don't know about all that.
And like I said...
And this isn't a show about mental illness. Mm-mm. It may play a part in it, as we say, dual diagnosed, but we don't focus on just mental illness on this show. I mean, I could bring in an expert if you want. I got plenty of them out, but I'm sorry, you're like going off the rails on this, or on a whole different, a whole different thing here now.
Right. And there's paths for everybody, and somebody with a mental illness needs to deal with doctors that can help them through their mental illness. However, if they're using drugs, they need to also address that as well.
That's all we're saying. You have to address both issues, not just one or the other.
Exactly.
I mean, not to elaborate on the whole mental illness side. I mean, what we're saying, you got to address both issues simultaneously to be successful with either one. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's side to side. That's what it's called, dual diagnosed. That's why they call it that.
Right. And you don't want to, go ahead and get somebody through a 28-day program and say, okay, you're healed. Take your tools with you. Make sure you make a meeting. Make sure you call your sponsor. See ya. They know what they need to do when they leave treatment. It's up to them to follow through that program. However, if they're dealing with the mental illness side and they're not getting a therapist, they're not getting a psychiatrist, they're not getting a psychologist to help them through that part of it, they're going to lead right back into their addiction again.
Yeah,
and
it leads us down the same road.
Right.
I mean, it's just like someone who's been, in recovery for many, 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 many years, say from alcohol. And, 20 years down the road, they say, you know what, I think I'm good. I think I can drink again. Yeah, just a couple. It's like,
Hey, Christine.
and then, boom, before you know it, one turns into two, and next thing you know, you're back into your full-blown addiction to alcohol. I mean, the brain does us forget. And it's very dangerous. That's why, once you become, clean and sober, it's best just to stay that way. I mean, through abstinence, forever. I mean, you can't go back to your old ways. I mean, you just can't. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you have those tools to cure alcohol.
Alcohol is curable. There we go, folks. You can read it right here.
Paula feels that alcoholism is curable.
Well, everybody
Good for you.
has their opinions on recovery, and you're all entitled to it.
Yep. If you found something that works for you, then awesome. That's great. But I'm going to tell you the best cure for alcoholism is to stay connected to the program that you're connected to, or substance use. That's the most important thing that you can do is follow your program, whichever that program is.
Whatever program you decide to follow, but you got to stick with it.
Yep.
You got to keep working it. 'Cause like I said, recovery works if you work it, but
yes,
you got to stay with it.
Alcohol and substance use is manageable. It is not curable.
Right. That's why they put it. It's a disease that can be managed. You can live a very healthy life and all. I mean, just like diabetics, as long as you take. I know there's going to be a cure for diabetes before I'm done with it. Like diabetics take take their insulin, and all. You can live an entirely fruitful, long life. I mean, as long as you. But it's like you just got to follow the program. I mean, it's always been told to me that alcoholism is not curable. It's a disease that could be managed.
It's a manageable disease.
As long as you follow the program. Mm-hmm. But has anybody got any ideas, any topics they want to hit on? Maybe something we should hit on next week. I mean, feel free to to type in. We don't have the call in line tonight. We got some kind of mechanical issue. I think it might have been an update on the computer or something. So it's not allowing us to do the call online tonight.
Mm-hmm. Curable. Tell me how.
Yeah, Larry. There you go. You see it here. This show is a plethora of information.
Yes,
there we got people.
It is.
And Paul, we welcome your theories. I mean, there's no one way for everything. I mean, there's all different avenues to take. There's all different types of treatment to take. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm down with that. I'll look into it more. I'll read up on this guy. See what he's talked about. But
Oh God, life is great. Life is grand. So, yeah, if anybody's out there struggling, feel free to pop it into the chat. And we will share our experience with you and some of the things that we learned on how to, get through life living with somebody that is struggling with addiction, alcoholism, and and that's what we're about. This is life lessons. This is nothing more than what I've learned over the years. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one. I just do what I do because I've been there and I know what it takes to help a loved one that is struggling with drugs and alcohol.
We try to point people in the right directions to get the help they need.
There's the cure for diabetes. We have 2 doctors in the house.
All right. So we just try to give people hope and point them in the right direction. To find the help that they need to help them along.
Termites. But you know where we are. You know that I'm always available to chat and to help you when you're really struggling with what to do when your loved one is, ready for help and you don't know where to turn. When your loved one is struggling and you need to, find the strength to do what you need to do for yourself. That's what this is about. It's about, us helping the next person the way we were helped along the way.
Yeah.
There were thousands of us before us, and it's all learning. It's a learning experience, and what was passed down by each other is what has helped people get stronger and make the decisions that they had to make in their recovery and their loved ones' recovery. It's not easy, and the things that we have to do, the things that we have to, get past and make those hard decisions, they're the ones that need the help. They're the ones that need to know that there is life after substances. And, and this is where it's a safe place to come. And
Well, it was.
it is a safe place to be. They have their opinions. I'm sure they're all doctors.
Doesn't matter. Everybody is entitled to that. I mean,
Exactly.
we welcome it. We welcome different opinions, different angles. That's fine.
And I'm glad that you have cures, and hopefully you're out there curing all them alcoholics and drug addicts.
It's gonna put us out of work.
Oh, and by the way, we do not get paid to sit here.
We're not a monetized channel. We never
We're
planned to be. We do this just from our own studio here. We have a very low overhead. We don't ask for donation. We have anything. We just say, we do ask you to tell your friends to tune in if you got anything out of this. I mean, we do like more, have more viewership. That's great. Got a pretty good number up there tonight. And we just do what we do because we know what it feels like to be at a total, not knowing where to turn.
Yep.
I mean, losing all hope. I mean, people, go through this sometimes for 30 years with their loved ones or more, it goes on and on, and they give up. And we don't want you to give up. I mean, it's never too late to try to start to recover. I mean, it is doable. I said we've seen it time and time and time again. I mean, the hardest cases, people never, and just one day, they get to that epiphany or whatever, and they just decide to embrace the recovery and take the bull by the horns and follow through with it. And it does work.
It does. It's, it's a we program, they call it a we program, because it doesn't take just the person, it takes the community in recovery to help a person through to stay the path that they need to take to stay well, and to stay away from the things that keep bringing them back to that ugly place. And there's way too many ugly places for them to go and just stay in it. And most times the outcomes for people that don't have that help, they're the ones that don't make it.
You know why? You know why life expectancy is dropping? You know why the statistics? It's because of the amount of overdose deaths. But I'm sure you know that because you made that bold statement. But that's why life expectancy has dropped. That's the biggest cause of people not living as long now. But then I know you know that procrastinator guy. And we're not going to go down the abortion road all of that. That's something we don't cover here.
No. This is strictly...
We're not covering all mental illnesses. We're just trying to give people
hope,
tips and hopes on recovery.
And sharing our experiences.
We appreciate all these new angles, all these new viewers. This is great. I mean, like I said, we appreciate you. You're free to comment on anything you want on here. But I just kind of feel like we were kind of attacked there earlier, so I had to push back a little bit because you thought it was getting a little condescending, just a little.
Just a little.
Yeah.
But those that have been here from the beginning, those that have been here for,
Why do you giggle about alcohol? What are you talking about? I'm not following you. I don't know if this is a prank or something.
Well, it's not. They're not even worth it. Just
no, I don't know it. I don't know if this is somebody pulled a prank that's trying to pull my chain. I don't know what you're talking. Now you're just talking nonsense. Why are you giggling about alcoholism? You're just pulling my chain, pal. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. I'm giggling at you. Plain and simple.
So you guys know where we're at. You know what we do. You know who we have, helped through some difficult times. And I won't stop doing that because somebody did it for me. And somebody got me strong enough to know that there is hope after, use of drugs or alcohol. There is help for the person that is still struggling out there. That's what this is about. It's hope of recovery. It's hope to find the help that's needed in this disease, because it is a very isolated and lonely disease, because we lose so much of ourselves. We lose family members, we lose friends, we lose jobs, we lose homes, and there is support out there for you. There is support out there for anybody that's struggling, whether it is the family member, whether it is the person that is actively using, or supporting the person that is in recovery and continues to work the program and has a weak moment and needs just to talk. And that is why we're here. And I will talk to anybody at any time that is struggling and that wants to pick up a drink or a drug to get them through that weak moment. And I'll always be here for that. And that's what it's about. That's what we're here for. We're not doctors. We're not going to give you the scientific information because, quite frankly, we're not doctors. We didn't go to school for it. This is what I have learned over the 8 years that I've been involved just with my loved one, not to mention the years that I went through it with family members. You know, back when I just didn't understand addiction, you know, and now I have somebody close, a loved one that I needed to help and couldn't. So I had to get educated on what steps I needed to take to keep me from, to be well, to be strong enough to let them do what they needed to do so that I could be here when they were ready to get it together. And so far, so good. And tomorrow is never promised. Who knows what tomorrow will bring? But I'm going to stay connected, and I'm going to continue helping people that have that weak moment, because we all know that this disease can become a weak moment, and they can slide right back to where they were. So that's what this is about. Oh, God.
Who's Democrats? Us?
Apparently.
Oh, Christ, you people are unhinged. This show's probably not for you. I would suggest tuning into another show in the future.
Yeah.
Because you're obviously not enjoying this show at all. You crack me up. All you do is whole insults and condescending stuff.
Yes.
Get out of here. I don't even want you here. Bye. You're just dragging the show down with
and by the way, we don't bring politics.
Yeah, we don't bring
into
politics into the show here, or abortion or any issue like that.
Yes.
It's strictly about recovery. I think you tuned into the wrong show.
Yes. But everybody knows where we are that needs help. You know where we are. Just give me a holler. We'll be back here.
It is funny, I know.
We will be.
This is like the Oprah show. Oh my God, that's great. That's.
Do we get an Emmy?
Oh my goodness gracious!
So everybody that is here, that is, has been with us, you know what we're about. So
Dead air.
Dead air. I'm just. So everybody remember that the dance is coming up February 24th. Anybody that wants to get the information, hopefully I will have that information by next Friday. I think we're having our first meeting on it February 24th. This is our second Valentine's Day dinner dance. DJ Peppy P will be in the house.
You're cackling like Kamala, honey.
Oh.
This is turning into a comedy show. I love it. We love the comedy. Like I said, we don't take ourselves too seriously here.
No.
So this is great. Keep it coming.
Just remember that also ProAct, check them out. They will have some family support classes on education and support groups as well. They also, I think it's the second Tuesday of each month, they will have the blessing bag parties, and they will be giving out free Narcan. Make sure you follow their Facebook page so you know what's coming up with them. Anybody that wants to know more about the dance, please hit me up.
No, we're actually not even. We've never been immunized. Actually, you're a very poor judge of character. I think you got some clouded judgment out there. No, we're not. We're not boosted. We're not even. Never took the stab, never took the shot.
And
You're like, your observations are ridiculous.
yes, apparently they have,
I,
because
I,
it's really
I
fucked with
think
their
you might be
minds.
drinking right now while you're watching this show. Right?
So hit me up, guys. You know where I am. And not this Wednesday coming up, but the following Wednesday will be family support at the Ben Salem Live and Grin facility. First building to your left. And that's all that I know that's coming up. If anybody has any information on anything coming up in their area, since we do have viewers that are outside of our area, please feel free to always pop it up in our chat so that people can write it down and be part of that in their area. If you have somebody that's struggling and looking for treatment, please don't hesitate to call me if you're struggling on getting them in to treatment somewhere. If I don't know a place, I will put my feelers out and find somebody that can help you through that. Also, check out SAMHSA, SAMSHA. They are a good resource to reach out to help a loved one or the family member who is struggling with a loved one that is suffering from substance use disorder.
Challenge of life. Don't encourage them, Larry. Oh my goodness. See
So-
that? We took off for the and like see how exciting it was tonight. We had
Yeah.
all kinds of new viewership. And please, people out there, don't forget, take your niacin.
Yeah.
I think it's in them Flintstone vitamins, isn't it? Take your Flintstone vitamins.
So, thanks so much for joining in with us, guys. And we will be here next Friday from 9 to
Thanks,
10:30.
Taylor. Thank you, dear. It normally doesn't go like this. This was an extraordinary
Yes.
evening on the show.
We have two people that were really bored tonight.
Yeah.
And,
well, I'm glad we entertained them.
yes.
That's what we're here for.
And so, guys, just reach out if you need to talk. I'm here. I'm listening.
Toxoids.
I will definitely help you in any way that I can. And I don't think anything's coming up
No,
that
no.
you know of.
Well, I got a Trump rally to go to, but
A Trump rally.
but I don't know. I think I may have changed parties.
Yeah.
I don't know. These people here, they know best. I'm going to take my niacin. I'm going to. I think I'm going to become a libertarian now. I'll just screw them all.
I'm going to wear my Trump shirt next week.
No.
I have to go to the Trump store tomorrow.
We actually got one like 2 miles away from our house. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So everybody will be back next Friday, and you know where we are.
Yeah, who knows what will be next week?
Yeah.
But I'm going to run out and get me some niacin right now.
There you
I'm
go.
going out right now. And
I'm gonna get some zinc too, just to fight off
whatever.
all that other crap.
I'm telling you, who knows? Anything's possible.
And Lair,
Good night, Larry. I'll be talking to you.
and Mike, I will reach out to you. Let me know what Friday is best for you. And
The heavy guy. Oh, my God, now they're throwing insults. I'm the heavy guy.
Mama Static, love you. Have a great
great.
night. Have a great week.
Pridefully ignorant. He's definitely a Joe Biden guy. You're definitely an asshole. You definitely are. But
Thanks, guys.
it's
Sorry.
done. I think this is a prankster. I think it's somebody we know.
Sorry that
It's just somebody
it's
pranking
probably
us.
John.
Yeah. Somebody's pranking us.
Yes.
I can just tell by that part.
Yeah.
I know he's got a lot of aliases.
All right, guys. Have a good week, and we will be back here next Friday.
All right, man. Remember, everybody, recovery works if you work it.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in.